Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look at Ethereum, see what's going on. Not only do I get a lot of requests for this one, I got a lot of alerts as to why this coin should be pulling back here, not just with our average range per percentile, but also overextension and Bitcoin likely to retrace as well. So there's a lot of reasons why I think Ethereum should pull back. Now, is it a guarantee? No, it could continue straight up because we have this kind of weird euphoric thing going on right now with the whole market where money's just flowing right into Bitcoin and altcoins. Uniquely enough, Bitcoin dominance is still very high, so it's kind of a weird situation. I'm expecting Bitcoin to pull back, at least to retrace to its 90 to 88K range. So if that does happen, Ethereum will definitely pull back. If not, then obviously we're going to talk about where it could go next. We got a resistance range above us. We'll talk about that and look at some liquidation data here first. So back in liquidation data is as follows. First of all, hit the like button, comment below if you get a chance. Deeply appreciate that. Do not forget to do that. We have a terrible consistency of not hitting the like button with my viewers. I don't know what the deal is. I get tons of compliments, but I appreciate it if you do that every time. Thank you. Okay, so take a look here. We can see 1900 is that upper liquidation range just above the local high there, about 1830. So can that area get hit? Yeah, absolutely can. We have some previous liquidation levels that have been fully swept. So at this point, I think there's a distinct likelihood we do see a sweep here of this upper range. But there's also a strong likelihood we see a pullback too, at least first before that happens, okay? Because this macro perspective here, 2000, is like that big number, okay? So the likelihood of the price hitting 2000 in the relative near future, I think, is high, but the likelihood of pulling back is also just as high because of how Bitcoin's performing. So let's take a quick look here at liquidation, first of all, with the delta and kind of recognize we're overextended. We have been for about 24 to 48 hours. So we're close to about 10 billion liquidation delta. The longer that stays there, the more likely it is to continue to pull back. Okay. Now, I know it seems kind of crazy. You'd think that it's just going to keep going up, but the truth is it's one of those resistance ranges, one of those things that just kind of, when you overextend something in the wrong direction for so long, the likelihood of selling pressure becomes greater. So as more people enter longs, the more likelihood market makers are going to want to secure profit. When we take a look here at the back end open interest, we can recognize there's not a whole heck of a lot going on here. There's a massive amount of buying pressure at 1700, but there's a pretty significant gap there. Speaking of gap, let's take a look at this here as well, because Ethereum did create a CME futures gap here, which is essentially in the range of, let's see here, what is that number? We're looking at about 1715 to 1762. So 1715. 1762. All right. So I'll post that later here so you folks can see it, but that does imply the price action may pull back to fill that gap as the recent gap has been filled, and this one is partially filled. We'll keep an eye on that guy as well. So it's interesting how things are working out here. This is one of those unique kind of trading situations where you want to be careful taking a bunch of longs at the top, but you also want to be careful shorting too, because there's a lot of continuation potential. So when we look at the charts here, we can kind of see the daily time frame is still not bullish. We rejected here off of the 50-day SMA, and just in general, that's that local high entering this resistance range. And there was a resistance range because there's a lot of liquidation up in that area. Okay, so just keep in mind, it's not the greatest area to kind of buy into, because we're going to see a lot of resistance if the price travels into that 1850 to 1900 range. Now, liquidation does incentivize the price to go higher, but that's going to require Bitcoin to go a lot higher. Okay, so if Bitcoin goes towards 97,000, then I think we're going to see that. But lately, Ethereum has been underperforming consistently. So you could almost guarantee that we're going to see a pullback here soon from this coin based on that sentiment. But the daily time frame minus the moving average there, and you know the inability to break its descending trend line so far is all looking pretty good though. There's good momentum, good continuation. 4-hour time frame is going to reflect the same behavior here. We can see TD sequentials telling us we are overextended. We're hitting an 8. We've hit almost about 36 hours of continuation in the same direction. We look at all the moving averages. They are below the price action, which is good. Okay, so don't get this misinterpreted. I'm not trying to tell you that this coin is going to go down or it's a bad coin to invest in. What I'm telling you is that there's a lot of value below the price action. There's a lot of overextension, and market makers are going to secure profits. They've done so every single time this year. So I wouldn't be surprised we at the very least see this low 1715 range. That's where that CME gap is at, and potential bounce from there, because that is entering the local high range. Okay, so it does make sense for the local high to be retested before the price continues higher. So that's kind of what my thoughts are there. But once more, I'm totally been wrong before. It happens. Okay, so at this point, overall, that's essentially the concept there, but don't get it twisted here. There's still a lot of bullish convergence. There's a lot of reasons why the price action should continue to go higher. We're significantly overextended on the 4-hour time frame, and at this point, it just feels like that we're going to see a slight pullback before the next leg up. That's really what I'm getting. That's the impression I'm getting from Bitcoin too. I think we're going to see 90 to 88.5K range retested. Right now, there's kind of faking a bunch of late longs out right now. So that's where we're at. What are your thoughts on Ethereum? Where are you heading with this coin? I hope that you are in profit and you were able to average in the 1500 range. That's awesome if you did. If not, either way, we'll look forward to seeing the next video. I appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing the next one. Take good care of yourself out there. Bye-bye.